Vanakkam. Hello friends. In story time at Kadambavanam, today we will see the story of Tirunavukarasu Nayanar, one of the 63 Nayanmars as told in the Periyapuranam. Sekidar, while beginning to describe the life history of the great saint who was given the name Tirunavukku Arasu by Lord Shiva himself, says, "My one tongue is not enough to recount the greatness of Saint Tirunavukkarasar." On the banks of the fertile Pennai river was the country Tirumunaipadi that has given Saivism two eyes, namely Sundarar, who is also the hero of the epic Periyapuranam, and the other being Tirunavukku Arasar. And in the region of Tirumunaipadi, there was the holy town of Tiruvamur, and in this town, in the Velalar clan, in a lineage born out of righteousness and great leadership, the Kurukayar Kudi, lived Puhalanar. His wife was Madiniyar. Puhalanar and Madiniyar were blessed with a beautiful daughter whom Sekidar says was as beautiful and divine as goddess Lakshmi herself. They named this daughter Tilahavadiyar. A few years after Tilahavadiyar, they were blessed with a baby boy, and this boy was named Marul Nikiyar, one who dispels the darkness of ignorance. As Marul Nikiyar came of the right age, the father arranged for the tonsuring ceremony, a practice that has been passed on from generations together for hundreds of years in the Tamil lands. And this particular ceremony was earmarked to denote the flowering of the intellect of the child, at which time the father customarily started teaching the sastras to the child. In Tamil tradition, it was the scriptural education that grounded a child in the righteous way of living that was accorded great importance and hence given first. A few years went by and Tilahavadiyar came of marriageable age. In those days, 12 years was considered the right age of marriage for a girl child, and the general of the king of the land by name Kalipahayar came to know of the righteousness and beauty of Tilahavadiyar, and wanting to marry her, sent his relatives to ask for her hand in marriage. They came and met Puhalanar and conveyed Kalipahayar's wishes, on which Puhalanar made the necessary enquiries to establish the background and qualities and characteral integrity of Kalipahayar, and then accented to give his daughter's hand in marriage. Kalipahayar was very happy. Soon after this, a king from northern India waged war on Tirumunaipadi Nadu, and the king of the land ordered Kalipahayar, who was the leader of the army, to go on war, and hence Kalipahayar left to the north. The war waged on, and in that time, unexpectedly, Puhalanar fell ill and passed away. And as was the custom in those days, his wife Madiniyar too took her life. Suddenly, Tilahavadiyar and Marul Nikiyar were rendered orphans and were struck with grief. Their relatives consoled them, and they had slowly recovered, by which time the next tragedy struck. Kalipahayar, who had been waging a battle, died a victorious death on the battlefield. Upon hearing this, Tilahavadiyar declared, "The moment my father accepted to give my hand in marriage to Kalipahayar, this soul and this body became his. So I too would take away my life and will join him in death." Upon hearing this, Marul Nikiyar was shocked. He fell at his sister's feet and cried his heart out and said, "After our parents' death, it is you who I look up to as both mother and father. Now if you are going to take your life, my dear sister, I will die before that." Hearing this, Tilahavadiyar was moved with compassion for her little brother and changed her decision. But from that day onwards, here Sekidar records, "Ampon Maninul Tangadu," which means she left all the silks and the gold jewelry that she was wearing and adorned the dress of a saint and started to live a holy life in service of the Lord, looking after her brother. Marunikkiyar, in his father's footsteps, took care of the needy and the poor and was living a life of righteousness. But he had many questions in his heart regarding the impermanence of the way of life, and neither was he interested in marital bliss. So one night, without even telling his sister, he left Tiruvamur and proceeded to Padaliputra. Padaliputra, which was under the Pallava rule at that time, was Jain country, and upon reaching there, he went and joined a Jain mutt. The Jain monks took him in and taught him their scriptures and their way of life, and soon Marunikkiyar mastered them, and he was able to beat many Buddhist monks in philosophical debates and earned for himself the title of Dharmasenar, one of the highest titles accorded in the Jaina mutt. Years went by, and Tilahavadiyar, more than the grief of her brother having deserted her, was struck by grief that he had gone from the Saivite fold and entered the Jaina fold, and one day she simply left her place Tiruvamur and proceeded to Tiruvadigai Veerattanam on the banks of the Kedila river and lived in the mutt adjacent to the Siva temple, rendering service to the Lord by sweeping and cleaning the temple in the morning, by plucking flowers from the Nandavanam, the temple garden, and stringing beautiful garlands to the Lord, meditating on the 5-syllabled mantra Namachivaya at all times, while in her heart of hearts she was yearning and begging Lord Shiva to bring back her brother into the Saivite fold. She waited and waited, do you know for how many years? For almost 30 years. And one day Lord Shiva appeared in her dreams and informed her that due to his deeds in a previous birth, Marunikkiyar had his blessings and that he would be brought back to the Saivite fold. Sekar himself does not record in the Periya Puranam about these deeds in a previous life, but story has it that Marunikkiyar in a previous birth was in the heavens as Vahisa Muni, and you know the 10-headed Ravana, the Ashura, out of his ego, one day lifted the Kailasha while Shiva and Parvati were seated on it, and in order to teach him a lesson, Lord Shiva pressed down the mountain with his big toe. Ravana got stuck underneath, and Vahisa Muni, who was passing by the way, gave him an idea. Lord Shiva was a great lover of music and loved the Samaraga. So he asked Ravana to play the Samaraga and free himself, which Ravana did and escaped. And story goes that Lord Shiva punished Vahisa Muni with a birth on earth. Well, stories aside, the next day at Padaliputra, Marunikkiyar was struck by a very severe stomachache. It was as if all the poisons of the world were put inside his stomach, and so much intense was the pain that he fainted. The Jain monks didn't know what to do and tried harassing him with peacock feathers and sprinkling holy water while chanting various Jain mantras, and all this seemed to increase the pain of Marunikkiyar. Not knowing what to do, they simply went away. It was then that Marunikkiyar thought of his sister Tilahavadiyar. At once he called a servant and dispatched him to Tiruvadigai Veerattanam, asking him to bring his sister. The servant came and conveyed the news, but Tilahavadiyar refused to go to Padaliputra. Upon hearing about his sister's refusal to come there, Marunikkiyar decided to go to Tiruvadigai Veerattanam, and on the same night, covering his body with a piece of white cloth and with the help of 2 servants, he left for Tiruvadigai Veerattanam, reaching in the early hours of the next day morning when Tilahavadiyar was getting ready to leave to the temple. Seeing her brother coming from afar, she was overjoyed. Marunikkiyar came and fell at the feet of his sister, asking that he be excused and saved. Tilahavadiyar blessed him and requested that he come back into the Saivite fold and dedicate himself and the rest of his life to the service of the Lord. So saying, she gave him Tiruneeru, the holy ash, which Marunikkiyar smeared over his body, and immediately the stomach pain subsided. Well, by that time it was light and Tilahavadiyar left for the temple and Marunikiyar followed. Once he reached the sanctum sanctorum of Lord Shiva, he was overcome with bliss and joy and he broke into song. குற்றாயினவாறு விலககிலீர் கொடுமை பல செய்தன நானறியேன் ஏற்றாயடிக்கே இரவும் பகலும் பிரியாது வணங்குவன் எப்பொழுதும் தோற்றாதென் வயிற்றின் அகம்படியே குடரோடு துடக்கி முடக்கியிட குடரோடு துடக்கி முடக்கியிட ஆற்றேனடியேன் அதிகை கெடில விரட்டான தூரை அம்மானே. He sang the Padiham, after which the stomach pain completely disappeared. Marunikiyar rejoiced and broke into tears, thinking about the graciousness of the Lord, and next minute was covered in a light of effulgence, and Lord Shiva himself appeared before him and blessed him and disappeared. And a divine voice rang out in the heavens that because of his beautiful singing in Tamil, he would henceforth be known as Tirunavukku Arasu, meaning the one who is the king with a divine tongue. Thus, the people around were surprised and were overjoyed that Tirunavukarasu had been brought to them to revive the Saivite fold, and the streets of Tiruvadigai Veerattanam resounded with the joyous music of various instruments, and the sounds of conch shells reverberated in the airs around Tiruvadigai Veerattanam. So, we will continue with the events unfolding in the life of Tirunavukarasar in our next episode. Vanakkam.